So today is a book talk day, and it's a long overdue one. So I'll probably have to divide this up into parts, but that's okay. So here are the books that I read in September. First book I read was Tango Makes Three by Justin Richardson. It's on the banned and challenge book list for the family's makeup. It's the story about two boy penguins who are given an infant to raise. Gee, terrible. I think it's a cute story. The illustrations are cute. I know that it was banned because two fathers. Oh no. That's two penguins who are taking care of a baby penguin. What's not to like about that? Super cute. Anyway, moving on. The next book I read was Fat Kid Rules the World by K.L. Going. This was challenged for language and sexual content and the depiction of drug use. So it's about this kid named Troy who is morbidly obese and he's 17 years old. And he's ready to take his own life because he's so disgusted with himself. And his brother is an absolute jerk about it. So he's about ready to jump in front of the subway tracks in New York City when he gets rescued by this kid named Kurt, who is a quasi-homeless waif, high school dropout and legend, and an underground guitar genius. So the story is told from Troy's filter and of social anxiety and body dysmorphia. When you see what his weight is, and it's like, dude, there's worse. But it's like if you've been hit with body image problems, it's kind of hard to reconcile that. So I get it. Kurt helps Troy become a drummer in a punk band, but Kurt has his own problems. His home life is very chaotic, and he's often ill and in an altered state. Troy gets the opportunity to rescue him back, and it helps unite the family. That doesn't give too much away, I don't think. So 4 bookmarks for the psychological head games that this book takes on, and I kind of appreciate that. The next book I read was Draw Me a Star, Eric Carle's picture book, banned and challenge for nudity and views on creation. So basically, it's all about creativity. Draw a star. And if you know any books like If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, one thing leads to another, and oh my, you've created the world. Oh my, you've added animals and trees and plants and people, and pretty much depicts Adam and Eve and their glory. So I get why some people would be shocked by this, but again, you know your kid best. You know what discussions you're willing to have. I found it in the library very easily, so I don't think there's been too much ruckus over this one. I give it 3.5 bookmarks. It's not my favorite Eric Carle work, but that's my opinion. The next book I read was Beasts and Beauties by Soman Cianini. And this is the same author who wrote School for Good and Evil. So it's a story collection of fairy tale retellings where Red Riding Hood is a trickster, Beauty tells the beast off, Peter Pan is a possessive jerk, and my favorite was the Indian version of Hansel and Gretel. If you've watched any of my writing videos, then you'll know why. I give it 5 bookmarks. I actually like this one better than the School for Good and Evil. And that one was pretty decent. All right, the next book I read was Almost Perfect by Brian Ketcher, and it was banned for transgenderedness. So Logan is all depressed. He's a senior in high school. His long-term girlfriend cheated on him, But things start getting better when Sage moves to town. Sage was homeschooled and isn't allowed to date, and has a whole bunch of weird rules. But they still have feelings for each other, and it progresses. But when Sage tells Logan that she was born a boy and is in the process of transitioning, Logan doesn't take that very well. And that's just the first half of the book. The second half of the book is, dealing with his emotions and trying to work with and help and Sage, and it's all very complicated. And I appreciate the reality of the emotions that went into this. So 4 bookmarks, just for the rawness of the emotions. The next book I read was The K by Theodore Taylor. It's set off in Curacao in World War II, and it's a story of Philip, who is being evacuated because there was a threat of U-boats in the area. Philip's ship is attacked and he was rescued by a West Indian gentleman whose name was Timothy, and he teaches Philip how to survive long enough to get rescued. This was written in 1969, and it was controversial because of the race relations being avant-garde. Now it's controversial because views have changed about stereotyping, and the whole, it's like, oh great, you have the magic Negro and the little white boy who is the hero of the story type thing. When listening to the author's discussion about this, in his research, he found that it was a true story of a ship's account that a ferry was attacked off of Curacao and a young boy disappeared. He was there one moment, and then there was a flash and waves and stuff, and then he was gone. And so he always wondered what happened to that kid. And the character Timothy was based off of a West Indian friend that he had when he lived in the Bahamas. So I like the backstory of it. And the story itself was very interesting. So I give it 3.5 bookmarks. Next book I read was Monster by Walter D. Myers, 4 bookmarks. It was written in 1999. And so I found it very interesting that a lot of the things that happen is still relevant. And it's about this kid named Steve who is on trial for being an accomplice to murder of a drugstore owner. He was named as the lookout by another inmate who was trying to get a lighter sentence. And it just showing the mirror of the different roles in the system through his lens. He wanted to be a filmmaker. And so the whole story is told like through a screenplay filter. So I thought that was very interesting. And, things don't get resolved. And yeah, at least to the satisfaction of what most readers would think. I thought it was a good way to end the book, though. Not going to tell you, though. Go read it for yourself. All right, so I gave that one 4 bookmarks. And then I had Marked, which is from the House of Night series, book 1, PC Cast. I give it 2.5 bookmarks. You take all the cringy stereotypes and tropes of the YA magical fantasies, put it in a blender, and you get this thing. Just like you become a wizard by showing certain things, you can become a vampire the same way. It doesn't have to be a bite necessarily. And you go to vampire school, which might as well be Hogwarts, only darker and edgier. And I'm just like, it was not that great, in my opinion. If that works for you, I'm not going to yuck your yums. But there's so many volumes of the book series, and I'm just like, no, I'm good after the first one. I'm okay. And the last book that I read or listened to was Gossip Girl by Cecily von Ziskar. I don't know if I said that right. I never watched the TV series, and I'm not a fan of the pretty white kids with problem shows. So that already kind of tainted this. One bookmark. It is 100% unrealistic. Even for New York privileged kids, living in the Manhattans and the Hamptons and things or whatever. No way on earth would they get away with all of the things, clubbing and sex and drugs and booze and all that. And I just kind of set my teeth on edge. So that is probably the worst book I've read so far this year or listened to so far this year. So there you have it. My books for September. Part 2 will be the books for October. All right. Take care, everybody. If you like this type of video, please click like, subscribe, ding-a-ling the notification bell, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.